Okay, wir sind heute in Berlin zu Gast bei zwei berühmten Jungs. Die Herren kommen von der Band Steel Panther. Guitar Magazine is today proud to be guests with Satchel and Lexxi from Steel Panther.
I'm Satchel and that's Lexxi.
Thank you so much, guys, for having us, for having Guitar Magazine with you today in Berlin. We're talking about a hell of a new album. I think it's, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, probably the best album after the debut album, Feel the Steel.
Right on. Thank you.
In my humble opinion. And that is because I think you haven't had such a great production sound, guitar-wise, vocal-wise, the whole package, since the first album. How did recording go down before writing lyrics, recording in the studio with your producer?
Well, it was really difficult because Jay Rustin is very, very difficult to work with.
I heard that, yeah.
And but it sounds great, and so it's worth it. You know, working with Jay that's really the end result is what matters. He does a great job, and he's very easy to work with. You know, he does a lot of drugs. He's got dogs and shit.
Dogs?
Yeah,
he has dogs
in
that
his
shit.
Studio.
That shit.
Dogs that shit in his studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird, but you know, this was not the easiest album to record, to be honest with you. It was a lot of ups and downs, but I think it sounds great as well. I'm with you. I think it's one of the best sounding records we got, and I love the guitar tones on it. I love the way it's produced. I love that there's a lot of solo sections that don't have rhythm guitar, like so you can really just hear the lead.
Like Van Halen did that shit too.
I was just gonna say, like it sounds like a Van Halen trio kind of thing.
Yeah, I consciously did that. Like you know, a lot of the records, I would just sort of write rhythm parts for the solo section, and this time I was like, I'm just gonna like not lay out, let the rhythm guitar lay out, and let the lead guitar shine. You know, let the bass hold it down, and it sounds killer. So
good.
But the whole record, I think the whole record sounds great. There's a lot of, you know, it really comes down to the tunes. You know, I think the songs are really great. So
now, before we talk about the songs in particular, stay with the guitar sound, stay with the guitar nerd thing and the bass nerd thing.
Thank you.
You're with Chavo right now. And pretty, one of the famous new endorsees of Chavo, since you went away from Kramer. But your signature guitar is quite interesting for our readers as well, which includes Fishman pickups.
Yes.
How did that come?
Well, I'll tell you how that.
I mean, you could play washboard, and you don't need a high-tech guitar, but that's new.
Well, I appreciate that. It's funny. The only reason I'm playing Fishman is because there's a guy who I know who works with Fishman. He's a great guitar player as well. His name's Ken Susi, and he plays in a band called Unearth, and they're a really good band. And I didn't really know him, but he came to me and he gave me some Fishman pickups because he was spreading the gospel, and he was like, you got to try these pickups out.
They're good ones.
And I didn't try them for a long time. I just. Because I'm not really a gear guy. I love to play the guitar, but I don't know how to fix my guitars, and I don't really like that part of it. It's like I just want to play it, you know.
Right.
And so I can't take a guitar apart. I have, and I've fucked them up before, and but it's I don't trust myself putting a pickup in because I'll just screw shit up. I have done it, and I've done it recently, but I don't do it often. But these pickups were sitting around my house for about a year. And
until they were
Ken was texting me. I was like, oh, fuck, here he is again. He wants to know if I use these pickups. And I was like, no, I haven't tried them. And he was like, can you please try them? They're really, really great. I want you to hear them. And so then he goes, how about if I have somebody come out to your house? I was like, fuck.
Oh, he's putting the pressure. He's putting the heat on.
So I was like, oh, God. He gave me these pickups. I feel like obligated. I was like, okay. So this guy comes up to my house and he spends like 2 hours putting the pickups in, and then I A/B'd the Fishman pickups with the pickups I was using. I'm not going to mention the name, but they are the standard rock pickups that everybody uses, and and the Fishman pickup sounded so fucking good compared to what I was using. Same settings on the amp. It just it you know what it felt like. You know, you play guitar.
Yeah, I do.
You know how like when you feel like you need a stomp box or something.
Yeah.
You need something to just like help you like.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never had this kind of feeling.
Right, nobody ever has that problem,
No.
right, playing guitar. Well, once I played the Fishman pickups, I never felt like I needed anything ever again. Like that, like all the tone was just there. Like, and I called Ken, and I apologized. I said, "Sorry, I'm a dick. Sign me up." Like, and I switched over to Fishman right there.
Well, maybe the great guitar tones, the riffs from the album don't come from, you know, the very difficult relationship with the producer, but from the pickups.
Maybe it is.
the end of
Maybe
the
it
day.
is the pickups.
Yeah.
Yes, it's certainly not from
Who
me.
knows?
Yeah, they're great. And Ken, the last time I saw Ken Fish or Larry Fishman, who owns the company, I was gonna tell him how great the pickups were, and but he's a golfer and he had just gotten a hole-in-one like the day before, so he couldn't stop talking about
Couldn't be more euphoric.
his hole-in-one. So I was like, "Have you heard of the song Tiger Woods?" And he was like, "Fuck Tiger Woods! I just got a hole-in-one."
Dang.
It's
So what
pretty
else
cool.
did you use in the studio?
What else did I use?
Is Kemper something that you're using? Kemper
You know what?
profiling?
I don't
Is that a thing?
use the Kempers, but I do use live. I use an amp called the Atomic amplifier.
Okay.
It's made by Atomic. It's called the Amplifier, and it's killer. Like it sounds so good live. And I model. What I do is I model. It's a modeler.
I model too.
He's a modeler.
Yeah, sure.
He's just look how good he looks for 65 years old.
Thank you.
How
Badass.
fucking good he look.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't know
Satch.
many 65-year-olds that fucking look that good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I use I model the EVH2.
Yeah.
So
I was
that's
just
like,
gonna say,
to,
because
to
that
me
that
that's
was,
the best sounding
that
amp
was the
on it.
go-to amp that you used all the time.
Yeah, and I still use those amps,
Yeah.
in the studio, and but live I don't have to drag them with me. I just use that, and it sounds fucking great. So.
And Lexi, what did you use in the studio, and what's your go-to
I didn't
gear?
really do. I waited for the session guy to come in and Satchel to take over some of the parts. This record was Satchel's right. This record for me, all the records are hard because I have to remember the songs, and but this record was because there's so much technical stuff going on. You have to like this record. I moved my fingers way faster than any other record I had to before.
And how did you come up with those parts?
Oh, I didn't come up with the parts. Satchel wrote the parts.
I'm
It's-
Satchel. I'm just asked you that.
Oh, but
Oh, you're talking to him right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Who's asking? Who wants to know?
I was just.
Yeah, I want to
was
know
asking.
if you
I don't-
kind of like.
But you would
were
know the
involved.
answer to that. Satch.
I just wanted them to know.
Oh yeah, so that's why I was talking to you. I knew you.
What's
Well,
a
you
go-to
did a great
instru-
job, though.
What's a go-to instrument?
fucking great on that
bass-wise.
I appreciate it. I only, what's that? That's lip gloss.
Looks perfect.
So this record again. All records are really hard for me because you have to remember all the songs and everything that he tells me to do.
Well, you only have to remember one note at a time, though.
That's why I like the
Right.
bass guitar. There's only 4 of the strings,
Yeah, they're called
and
strings.
then the lines in
Frets.
between. They get smaller up as you higher you
Frets.
go up. Have you seen a bass?
Yeah.
I know you have because I'm just good
Frets.
because you play guitar. Frets.
Yeah, they're called frets.
And I cover up my
And those
frets.
things, that the sound when you push the string down at a certain fret, that's
In
called
between.
a. That's called a. That's called. I'm asking you a question. What's that called?
Well,
What are you
Called a
talking
note.
Note.
Yeah, it's a note.
Yes.
Those are notes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else.
No.
And the chords and the cables, I use these cables in the studio. What kind of cables?
Unless you
are
play guitar, then you play more notes at one
Well, I don't
time.
play-
That's called a chord as well, but it's spelled different.
This is also called a chord.
That's called a chord as well.
And-
Learning new things.
yeah.
And I can think about a bunch of things that are chords. Like I have a spinal cord. Look at it goes down here.
Well, you
all
can't
the way-
even, you can't see it. It's inside your spine.
You have a spinal cord.
Yeah, sure, I do. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the album. I think that's something very.
It's a great idea.
The title of the album is very intriguing because
It's everything that we stand for.
yes, what do you guys think is so fucked up with today's rock music?
I'll let Satch answer that.
What-
We were just talking about it in
what
the
was the
car.
question?
What do you think is so fucked up
Fucked up about
with
today's
rock
music.
music that you
We
had
were just talking about this in the car
to
yesterday.
pick that cover? That's the title.
Well, what's fucked up about rock music in this day and age? I don't know. I don't listen to a lot of newer bands. There are some bands that are new that are really good. Like I just got into a band called Mutoid Man, and they've been around for a little bit. You know, they're relatively new, really good band. But there's a lot of kids these days. Listen, our new record, Heavy Metal Rules. It's true, heavy metal does rule.
Always
right?
has.
I mean,
Everything else belongs on fucking Mars.
I think it's really sad that a lot of kids are growing up in this day and age with everything at their fingertips, and there's so much coming at them that a lot of them just they get distracted by like all the shit that's there, and heavy metal is there too, but it's just so many other things going on, and they don't realize that heavy metal is really the greatest form of music ever invented by mankind. So we're trying to educate kids, and this album, Heavy Metal Rules, hopefully will help some kids realize that the greatest form of music is heavy metal, and the greatest combination of instruments ever put together by humans was drums, bass, and guitar.
That's right, and I mentioned this in another interview. What's cool about obviously this record, but a lot of our records, bringing heavy metal back, is that instrument right there. Satchel will write these genius songs and then use this whole thing from here to here, and that's what a guitar is for. It's for writing bitchin' ass fucking songs and cool fucking chords like, and then also going. Kids don't understand what that it's not used anymore, and it's a shame because a guitar is supposed to sound exactly like his arms and fingertips do, and nobody does that.
No other
and that's a
body parts
fucking guitar,
involved.
and there's 50,000 million guitars out there, and nobody knows how to fucking use it like fucking Satchel and metal, and I'm just speaking the truth, and that's why it's sad that the guitar is going away.
Well, it's not going away. We're bringing it back.
No, actually not. It's not
Yeah,
going away.
guitars. We're doing an interview for fucking.
It's Guitar Magazine.
Guitar
actually.
Magazine.
This is
It's Guitar Magazine. People will
Oh,
buy this,
sorry.
play guitar.
Edit that out.
Everybody who they're all watching you. They all play guitar.
Yeah.
And you know what they're all saying? They're all saying,
But that's okay. I mean, let's stick with
He said it's
fuck yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's
What's
it's
okay?
He said
yeah.
it is.
I think it's okay.
"It's okay."
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, let's stick with heavy metal.
Yeah.
Where did you get your
I was so
inspiration,
nervous.
your ammunition from? I hear a lot of
Oh, the inspiration for
whatever Maiden, Cinderella, even some Pantera chops are
Yeah.
shining through.
Yeah, you got a good ear.
I know.
It's there's me personally. I grew up with a lot of my favorite bands. Growing up, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, older bands like
I
that.
even hear Black Sabbath influence on the new album.
Yeah, absolutely.
Glad you caught that.
There's
Yeah.
always some Sabbath in there, and
Sorry.
but yeah, I mean, like bands as time went on and bands like Pantera came out, of course, who's not going to be influenced by Dime? He was just the aggression that he has in his playing, in his rhythm chops. I love that stuff
And melody.
and his he's a very melodic lead guitar player. But yeah, there's guys that do heavier stuff that I like, and there's also guys that I grew up in a time when I really, one thing I miss about like 80s metal was that there's a lot of great vocal melodies, as well as guitar riffs. So those bands that I listened to back then, and I loved bands like Maiden and Priest and
And these
Cinderella.
bands are still
Van Halen
consistent. They're
Poison.
still playing live.
yeah, there's so I mean, I'm
Very
going to
Danger,
see Iron
Danger.
Maiden in Vegas in about a month.
Dokken.
I can't wait.
Trust
Europe.
me, it's awesome.
Dock in Europe, all those bands, like a lot of those bands, a lot of melody and a lot
Cinderella.
of
Somebody
great
save
guitar.
me. I lost my job. They kicked me out of my tree. That's Tom
He likes
Kiefer.
to sing that song. He likes to sing that
That's
song.
kind of cute. Yeah.
It's a great, and that's one of the best album covers. The one thing I miss about the 80s are the album covers. If you look like our first record, you got to see the band. Nowadays, you just see like skulls and stuff, and evil and blood, and which is metal, I guess. But at the same time, you don't get to see how bitchin' the band looks. And I guess a lot of times right now, the bands don't look as bitchin' as we do. So maybe they shouldn't put their faces on the cover. That's maybe a good idea. But there's no.
Or you know what you should do? You should rent your face out. Maybe you could model for other people's records.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do you think lifestyle is important as well? Like as important as writing songs?
I think that we have a lifestyle where we like to party and have fun, and that comes through in our songs. That's naturally what we write about, and what we like to sing about. And you don't have to. I mean, I think as a songwriter, like if you're in a band and you have a band that likes potato chips, and you like to write songs about potato chips because it comes naturally and you eat potato chips all the time, then I think that's great. I think that songwriting is something that you can be a great songwriter and write about anything.
Ruffles.
But as a person who likes to party and be in a bitchin' looking heavy metal band, it's natural for me to write songs about partying and fucking girls.
And girls, exactly.
But being a guitar player, I grew up playing guitar. I can play other instruments, but guitar is my first instrument, and it's my forever love. It's my forever love.
It's not going away, like
and
I said earlier.
love this instrument. It's by far the coolest looking electric. Not so much the acoustic. Acoustics are cool, but the electric guitar is the coolest looking instrument that's ever been invented by human hands, and I love hanging them on my walls at home, and I love playing them. And I don't like to repair them. We've already gone over that.
We already talked about it.
But they are such a cool instrument. I can't even remember what the question was.
It doesn't matter. Let's stay with inspiration.
Yeah.
I think that's quite interesting. Talk about songs, song lyrics.
Yeah.
Besides partying, there's a lot of inspiration coming from being pissed, being angry.
You know what? You noticed that.
Oh yeah, I did.
You noticed
like
that.
It's songs like "Sneaky Little Bitch," "Ain't Buying What You're Selling," which is a great.
Oh, not great. Last song on the record.
Very decent lyrics. Yeah. Underneath all this glamorous partying stuff, there's a soul.
You know what? I think. Thank you for noticing that.
Yeah.
And I think that
You're welcome.
I've noticed, and I noticed that about this record too. I think it'll be obvious the more, if you listen to the record a few times, it's clear that, we're older guys. I'm not going to hide that. I'm an older guy.
I'm going to hide it. I'm getting plastic surgery next month again.
He's going to try to hide it, but I don't know how well he's going to do. But we're all getting older, and, I can't hide the fact that I'm becoming more bitter in my old age. And there's a little bit of bitterness there seeping through in the words on the new record. But, like everything that we do in Steel Panther, it's delivered with a healthy dose of humor. But yeah, a lot of the songs, fuck everybody. I think everybody's experienced the frustration of almost getting hit by a 16-year-old girl behind the wheel of a car who's checking her Snapchat
phone,
without a driver's license,
or having to wait for fucking coffee in Starbucks and having the guy who ordered 3 guys after you get his frappuccino before you get your fucking Americano, and you want to fucking punch him in the face. And I know those are first world problems, but they're just as fucking frustrating.
I like the line about people stinking on airplanes.
Oh my God! I mean, how many times have you been on an airplane and
sitting next to stinking people?
It's terrible.
Too
I mean,
many
please take
on
a
the
shower
way here.
before you get
On the way here, somebody was smelling the whole plane up
before you get on the airplane. But it's there's other songs on the record, obviously that I am buying what you're selling. I mean, if you're you're my age and you're in your mid-60s and you live every day. When you're young, it's nice to be 19 years old and not give a shit and think you're gonna live forever. And you think, and everything that people tell you believe, and it's nice to believe it because sometimes,
it's easier.
everybody wants to believe, stuff when they're 19, but then you get to be 65 and you realize that the vast majority of shit that people have been telling you for years is all bullshit, right? So, but it's fun. I mean, I think the song's great, and, I don't think it's going to teach any 19-year-old the shit that 19-year-olds don't want to learn, of course, but as long as we still get to fuck the 19-year-olds.
You have a great
profile.
profile.
Yeah, for sure.
Satchel.
Thank you, I appreciate
But
it.
that song actually, like the ballad we're talking about in Buying What You're Selling, is a perfect example of a very simple, let's say, constructed ballad, but with most effective moments and chorus and hooks possible.
Thank you.
It's great one.
I appreciate that, and I love that song. We had a song on our last record that didn't actually go on the record. It was just a bonus song called Momentary Epiphany, and I don't know if it was a bonus song on the American release of the CD, and it's very similar. It's very just simple chords, and but that song, I Ain't Buying What You're Selling. I think I had just. Every once in a while, like when we're recording, it seems like every time we do a record, like towards the end of the record, I feel like, inspired to write something right before we go into the studio. And that song came out right before we went into the studio, and it was one of the last things I wrote. And, I wrote it in like 20 minutes. And I think I had just bought a new, like these days in the studio, you have to, you have to have like, what are they called? Audio interfaces?
Yeah.
To put the mic in, go into the computer, which is a huge pain in the ass. Like back in the day, when I used to do demos, back in the day, kids don't remember this, but you used to have like 4 tracks and cassette. You just put the fucking cassette in and press record, and it was no big deal. But of course, cassettes suck and they fucking eat themselves and shit. But now you kind of have to have a computer, and I was like, I bought a new computer because the stupid fucking thing stopped working, because that's what happens with computers, right? So I had to buy a new fucking computer, and I got a new computer, and I was like, whoa, brand new computer, it's gonna work. And then the fucking audio interface didn't work with the fucking computer. So I was like, motherfucker, so I had to go fucking get a new fucking audio interface, but they didn't have the right fucking plugins and shit, so I had to fucking order the goddamn audio interface on a fucking like Musician's Friend or some shit, and it took 2 fucking days for the goddamn thing to get to my house. And all I wanted to do was fucking write some more songs. And it finally got there.
You feel the anger?
And I was like, fuck,
yeah.
like, oh my God, and it plugged in, and it was working. I fucking got, like, my studio was like all set up and I'm ready to go. And then I was like, fuck, this is awesome. Like,
But at the end of the day, you
don't
wrote
have
a
any
great
songs
song.
to record. So I like fucking picked up the guitar and I wrote that song, and it came out really, really quick. And it was really simple and just like, really just a couple chords. But sometimes the best songs are like that. They just come out in like, in like 2 minutes.
Do you want to show us that switch?
Oh yeah, I can show you.
Well, let me move over.
No, you're not in the way.
A little bit I am. Stop it, Satchel. I'm gonna.
Dude, what do you want to hear?
Just a the beauty of simplicity.
That's not really in tune, is it? Lexi, where the fuck are you going, dude? What are you doing? Why'd you leave?
Because you told me to.
I don't need a crystal ball. Tell me that I'll be dead from liver failure. Just wait around and see. I don't need. I forgot the words.
And the chorus is so badass because it has the right timing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really like the way that song came out, and it's very simple. I ain't buying what you're selling. Just 1 4 5, simple chords, but it's all about the vibe, and that's kind of how music is. You always think, oh God, I don't want to use those chords because they've been used before, but there's only a few chords out there.
It is.
Only a few chord progressions, and it's all about just getting a vibe across.
How can we imagine you writing songs for Steel Panther at home when you're alone?
Well, I usually write when I'm totally naked. Get naked. I'll be honest. I'll be totally honest with you. When I'm naked in the shower, you have no idea. Like pretty much almost all the Steel Panther songs
Alone?
come to me.
Just alone in the shower.
Well, it's not always, but a lot of times, go into the shower, and just sitting there in the shower, like washing my balls. Hot water running down my naked body. Pissing in the shower like we all do.
It doesn't take long because his balls are tiny. The older
Shut up.
we get-
And I'll just sit there and piss. And, the piss is actually the same temperature as the water, right? So it's just sitting there draining my main vein in the shower. And I can't tell you how many songs have come to me like that. And I don't have a guitar with me, but I always, a lot of times it's like the idea, the melody or the lyrics, and then I'll have to, if I still remember it by the time I've dried off my tiny balls.
Their tapes will take long and they're really stretchy and long. When he sits down in the toilet,
We don't need to talk about
it. They hit the water.
We don't need to talk about it. So if I still remember it by the time I get out and I go into the studio, then I know it's hooky. And a lot of songs like that have happened. I'd say
Like
like
it happens again, why don't you play your skin flute? His penis.
It's not funny. You're not supposed to do that with the microphone. It's a microphone. Why'd you take it off? You're not supposed to take it off.
Because you were playing songs and I was in your way.
You're not in my way. Okay? It just feels like you're in my way a lot. But you're not.
I sense that. That's when I know when to leave.
I have another question that might be interesting.
Well, you're the interviewer. You should
I
have
figured,
a bunch of
I
them.
figured that you get a lot of appreciation from other musicians from totally other styles. Like, I don't know, Nuno Bettencourt, Corey Taylor is a huge fan. And most likely you take them on stage and they would perform with you.
Yeah.
And they really enjoy themselves.
Yep.
Why do you think that is? The
Well, I think-
appreciation and...
I think a lot of those guys, I know Corey Taylor loves heavy metal. He loves to rock. And he loves 80s. I mean, one thing that we learned a long time ago about Corey when we first met him was that he loves 80s metal. Like he loved Poison, loved like a lot
First
of
song we
stuff.
jammed with him was Poison.
Stuff you might not even expect him to love, but it's like his guilty pleasure.
Oh, he digs what he digs.
A lot of the 80s stuff he loved, and I remember the first time Corey was ever at our show, he got up and sang like, what did he sing? Like,
You sang
Nothing But a Good Time? Nothing But a Good Time, and we all couldn't believe it that he knew it, and he killed it. So, but there's a lot of guys, before we even put a record out, we were playing in Hollywood every week, and there were so many guys and so many bands that would come down and watch us just because we were really, really fun, and we've always had a great time live, and I can remember like being on stage and seeing Steven Tyler in the front row, and he's just sitting there in a booth at the Viper Room, and I went into Walk This Way, and I started I looked at Steven Tyler and I said, I'm not going to stop fucking playing this song until you get on stage. And before I even finished the sentence,
He was on stage.
He ran to the stage
He
like
hopped
a little
over on
kid.
the tables.
He jumped up there and started singing.
The tables.
And just killed it. And it was so much fun. So I think a lot of people, love that we do something that's really fun and we have a good time on stage. Whereas a lot of bands in this day and age are very serious. And they're very serious about their songwriting. They're very serious about their look. They're very serious when they're on stage.
Just like you.
And people can't, like, I think, for a lot of people, listen, we all love to have a good time. And we involve the crowd. And I think because of that, it's easy for us to make the audience feel like they're our friend, because we're having a great time, they're having a great time. And sometimes for a lot of bands, like, it's hard to make that connection because they don't want to look stupid. A lot of people are afraid to look stupid. Well, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to dance the wrong way. I don't want to fucking kick my leg up in the air and fall back on my ass. So a lot of people are hyper aware of that, and we obviously aren't. We don't give a shit what we look like.
Yes, we do.
We do, but we're really good looking so that helps.
We're the two best looking guys in the band, and everybody says that when I look at the computer. My mom has one.
Yeah, I know your mom has one.